Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Tales from the Pen, part 5. If you're new to the channel, please go down, hit subscribe, maybe hit the like, hit the dislike, whatever. If you want to leave a comment, I found out that a lot of people have trouble leaving comments. That's because you actually have to sign up for YouTube itself to actually, to leave a comment. So if you feel like signing up for YouTube, sign up for YouTube, and then come back and leave a comment. Now, for also people who are new to the channel, I want everyone to know that I talk about prison, and I talk about the stuff that goes on in prison. I tell stories, and I do things like that. And I do that for a few reasons. For one, mainly it's for the kids, so that they understand that these are the things that happen in prison, and I'm trying to deter people from going to prison, whether it's kids, whether it's adults, whether it's anybody, because there's some things that go on in there that are just gross and disgusting, and it's horrible, and I need to let the world know to understand, because sometimes when people come home from prison, they glorify their experience. They glorify what happened, and they act like it was nothing, And I'm here to say that that's not the truth. That is 1000% not the truth. They're lying, and that's what I want to do. I like to bring light to certain situations. I feel like if I have all this inside me, why not share it with people, right? It's like that saying that goes, love without no action is like no love at all, right? So it doesn't make sense for me to have this and not share it with the world, like what actually happens and what goes on, right? And who better but somebody who's been through the struggle, who's been through these situations, right? Because they say, out of suffering have emerged some of the strongest souls, right? The most massive characters have seared scars, right? Khalil Gibran said that. So, what that means is that, experience is the greatest teacher, right? But somebody else's experience could be just as valuable if you listen and pay attention. So that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm here to shed light on. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about maybe respect, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that go on in prison that the everyday world, to the normal person, would think was disgusting, right? First of all, respect is big in the penitentiary. Like, it doesn't matter what that person looks like. It doesn't matter that person's race. It doesn't matter that person's color. You have to respect them until further notice, right? You have to respect everybody, and if you want respect, that's the way it is. And respect is huge in there. Like, it doesn't matter, again, like I said, it doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter if that person is gay or anything. Like, you better respect them, because let me tell you something. I see some gay guys in there that will fuck you up. I see some gay guys in there that will put it on you. You know what I mean? They have their little gangs, and they stick together, and they have their little clique. You know what I mean? They run around the prisons, and they give each other like girl names. You know what I mean? There's a Spanish one. Oh, that's J-Lo. Like, it's, oh, there's a light skinned one. Oh, that's Beyonce. Like, what? But this is what happens. This is what goes on in there. 1000%. I've seen people have weddings in there. I've seen weddings where they threw rice. People got married. You understand? Inmates got married. I've seen it. And I also seen these same type men who would look straight, to the average person, have these relationships inside prison with other men. And then they go on visits and sit there with their girls and their families and their kids and kiss their girls, tongue kiss their girls down. And then go back and then go tongue kiss their other girl down. Like, this is what goes on in prison. Now, I'm not doing it to make jokes. This is what happens in there. Just straight guys out here running around right now that you would have no clue, what was going on in there. They was probably wearing lipstick. It's a true story. People who've been in there understand, and they know a bunch of dudes, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. For those who don't know, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. But again, you got to respect everybody, because some of them are even in gangs. Because, like, there's certain gang setups, like, they got the Bloods, Crips, and all different sets of branches of that, and they got Latin Kings and Nietas. Nietas actually, you know, in their crew that they accept them. You know what I mean? So, you know, you just never know who you're talking to, or so it's just better to respect everybody. You try to respect, and they respect you. You know, there's certain little etiquette and certain unwritten rules that you gotta know. If you're walking down a tier, right, and you have the last cell, and you gotta walk past everybody else's cell, do not look in anybody else's cell. Keep your eyes straight. You know, keep your peripheral up, because you never know. You know, you never walk along somebody's cell gate. You walk the opposite direction, so that you're not actually on their gate where they could do something to you. So you always walk to the right, keep it on the right side where there's no cells, and you walk down. You know what I mean? Now, the thing, you cannot look at somebody's cell, you know, unless you know that person, like, you know, your boy's in 20 cell, you know, you go, yo, what up, you know, you guys talk, that's nothing. What I'm saying is, as far as like walking down and look at people's cell, because somebody gonna say, yo, what the fuck you looking at? Fuck you looking in my cell? Now, what you gotta do? Right? What do you gotta do? It's a quick decision, right? Because here's the thing. When somebody looks at you and says, yo, man, what the fuck you looking at? There's only a couple options you have. There's only a couple options you have. Because if you say, oh, no, man, I'm not looking at you, guess what? The wolves are circling, and you the sheep. As soon as you say, no, I wasn't looking at you, oh, I'm sorry. Or you can be like, what? Who the fuck are you talking to? Now it's a fight, right? So you learn over time when somebody says, yo, what you looking at? The next option is just punch him in the face. That's what's going to lead to. So these are things you learn to stay out of, so you have to have respect. You can't be looking at people's cells. It's part of the etiquette. That's just the way it goes. If you're sitting in the mess hall, this next one is going to blow your mind. But anybody who's been in a penitentiary will understand exactly what I'm saying. If you're in the mess hall and you're sitting down eating your food, whether it be a circular table and there's 4 or 5 others, or whether it's a long table where it's just, you know, people on the other side and it's just one-on-one type thing, right? If somebody behind you at another table say, yo, Fred, yo, what up? And I turn around and say, and give that table my back without saying excuse me, I might get stabbed. Because what that means is you're turning your back on these people, and in prison, that's a disrespect. That will get you killed. So the proper etiquette is when somebody calls you at another table, you say, excuse me, fellas. You knock on the table, everybody acknowledges, you turn your back here and say, yo, what's up, what's going on? You talk, whatever, and come back to the table. Okay, thank you, fellas. What? 1,000%. 1,000%. Because when you go up in the mountains, them dudes is playing different. You have to respect the rules. And that's part of the etiquette up there. It sounds crazy. Because I turned my back. Yes, just because you turned your back. 1,000% because you turned your back. That's part of the etiquette. Other etiquette is you mind your own business. Unless it somehow pertains to you. Examples. In prisons, they have what's called booty bandits. It's self-explanatory. Booty bandit. They take booty of the young and vulnerable. 1,000,000%. Notorious ones. Not gonna shout them out on here, but notorious ones. I've seen it. There's certain things like, you know, a few neighbors down, the dude was, he was a young white kid from Albany. And one day he came back, a little young kid, and he came back to his cell and he had a bunch of commissary on his bed. Some soups, some Snickers, a bunch of things. And his dumbass ate the food. A few days later, a notorious one came to his cell and said, hey man, you got that food I gave you? Like a movie. Only there was no cameras. This was for real. He ate this food. Now he owes somebody. That wasn't his food. He's supposed to come back to his cell, see that food, and flip. Throw that shit on the tier. Yo, who left this food in my cell? Throw that shit on, make a scene. Let him know you're not going to be prey. But he said, oh, I'm sorry, I ate it. Well, now you owe me. He went up in his cell and did something dirty to him. He ended up turning that kid out. The kid ended up running around wearing lipstick. Because he took the Snicker bar. And then he ended up with, numerous other candies. All types of Snicker bars. Now, some people might say, well, when something like that happens, Fred, why wouldn't you intervene? Because, the reality is we don't like them predators either, those type of dudes either. But they know who to do that to. They absolutely know who to do that to. But here's the thing. And here's the thing I'm going to drop on you guys right now. And this is a fact of life. This is for people that affect you, around you, whatever. You can't help nobody that don't want to help themselves. Let's rewind that. You can't help nobody that don't want to help themselves. He didn't want to help himself. He didn't want to help himself. What could I do? What could I do? Nothing. I've been in a few of those type situations. Another friend of mine, I was in the medium security. Me and the dude ended up being cool. He was, he's from around my way, but I didn't know him like that. But he came into the spot I was in, and these other dudes came from another housing unit, and they went up and walked right up in his shit and took a bunch of his tapes. I knew the dudes who did it, so, I went and talked to them. They say he did some other shit in another jail or whatever. Something, I don't really know. But the kid was from around my way, and I was like, yo, what you want to do about this? What you going to do about this? I gave him something. Go take care of that. I'm going home soon. I can't. Okay, well, it sounds crazy. But there was nothing I could do for him. So what did I do? I went to them because he had 2 or 3 of my tapes. I remember. Jodeci, yeah, my Jodeci tape. I went to them dudes who was like, yo, them 3 tapes, blah, 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 those was mine. And they gave him back. We was cool. Facts. But what could I do for him? He didn't want to do nothing for himself. You can't put yourself out there for nobody that don't want to help themselves. And that's true in real life. That's true in real life. You have to want to help yourself. You have to want to do it. Because no one else is going to do it for you. That's the lesson learned there. That's the lesson I learned. To you young kids, is this what you want to go through? You want some ramen noodles on your bed? No, you don't. No, you definitely don't. Back to the etiquette thing. There's certain things, like when you do go into your first cell, when you go into your cell, first thing you do, you search your cell. Because you do not know who just left that cell. You have to search it. You have to go up under things. You have to look, see where you could possibly hide something. Because what happens is you move into that cell, the next day they come on a search, they find that item that wasn't yours. Guess what? It's yours. It's yours. So the next thing you have to do after you search that cell, you have to clean it and scrub it down. You have to scrub it down. Because it's disgusting. So you have to clean it, and you have to keep... This part is really going to... This goes back to the whole gross thing, right? But listen to this. Fact of life in there. The cleanest part of your cell is your toilet bowl. Let me explain. Your toilet bowl is much more than what the normal household would use the toilet bowl for. In prison, the toilet bowl is your washing machine. Multifaceted. You know, you're washing the stuff in the bucket, and the water, and it's so powerful when you hit it. It's so loud and powerful, and it's a metal toilet, and the water is freezing. So you put your stuff in there, you rinse it, and you rinse it out. Your toilet bowl also serves that if you have soda, they sell soda in the commissary, and you have it under your bed or whatever, and you want it to be cold, you put it in the toilet and you flush it 3 times. You pull it out and you got freezing cold water. You see how I lived? Facts. People might be like, ew, no, you keep your toilet immaculate. You scrub every part of it with a toothbrush. You keep it clean because you know what else it does, serves purpose as? It serves a purpose as a refrigerator because you can buy cold cuts in the commissary. Hermetically sealed, you know, the hermetically sealed ones you get in the supermarket, no water, nothing can get into them. You take them, you put them in a net bag. Put them in a plastic bag first, and then you put them in a net bag. And you know where you keep it? You keep it in your toilet, because that's your refrigerator too. And then you take it out, it's cold, it's not, open it up, nothing. You know, you use the whole pack. And you keep the rest of the sealed ones back in the toilet bowl. So now you're eating out the toilet bowl, you're getting your drink out the toilet bowl, you don't wash stuff out the toilet bowl, and you're shit in the toilet bowl. Facts. Now again, I tell you all this not to glorify anything, but to keep it 100% funky, because I never heard stories like this. Nobody told me stories like this. I mean, if this don't deter you, I don't know what will. I lived out the toilet bowl. And so did anybody else in a maximum security prison in New York State. They're all nodding their head. Facts. Kids, you do not want to live like that. You do not want Snicker bars on your bed. You do not want to have to live out of your toilet bowl. But it's a fact of life in there, and you do what you gotta do. With that, I'm going to end this. I see I'm about 18 minutes. I went over a little bit, you know, what I wanted to do. But I'm so damn passionate about this. You know, I love to do this. I love to deter people. Because you know, I had a few people try to deter me in a different way, but they never told me stories like this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of part 5. Again, if you didn't subscribe, please go down and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, you got to sign up for YouTube. My Instagram is PaleRider11367. And till next time, Fred White signing off.